How's it going? Alright, so I thought it'd be fun to record a video of me making the intro music for the channel, which, if you heard it at the start of the video, then obviously it turned out to be passable or half decent or something. I don't know music theory or anything. I just sort of play stuff until, you know, if a key sounds wrong, I'll move it till it sounds somewhat right, and that's about it. So what I'll do is I'll just sort of play a quick intro, but to keep it nice and short, I won't show the bits of me improvising. Like, I've got the brass section here, so I'll just play along for a while until I sort of, you know, think that something's half decent, then I'll record it. So I think I've got something here, which I'll record now and see if it sounds alright. So I screwed up a bit, as expected. So I want these to end on it. I'll do it now. Well, that's the brass idea part done. Now, what I want to do is I'll just add some strings. Alright, so now I've added the strings. It's basically just a direct copy, but I've moved all the notes so it's more quantized, which means it just touches the beats better. Because my playing was all over the place, and, you know, let's see, even this just that velocity a bit more, and it was just had too many breaks in it, so that's all I did. But this is what it sounds like with both of them together. So it's getting there. Obviously, I haven't worried about fiddling with the articulations and the mod wheel and the pressure and all that sort of stuff yet, because I just basically like to get the rough idea out. Because if I start messing around too much, then if I change something or change a bit, then it's just a waste of time. So what I'll do now is I might just chuck in some percussion to get a good feel of something. I've just got the Symphony Series percussion kit loaded up because it's easier to just play everything, like improvise, you know. And you can just chuck it in there and fix it up later. Well, you know, if I do that, I can speak English. Right, that'll do. Keep pressing the bloody chimes button. The piatti. Chuck in the piatti. See what that sounds like, eh? Hit the bloody chimes button. I gotta fix up those fucking drums. They sound like shit. What was that? It all seemed different. Fuck it. I'll fix it later. Alright. I might just leave those chunks in there for now. Who cares, right? Right now, snares maybe. Not the Super Nintendo, not the SNES. The snares, mate. Yeah, mate. Fucking snares, mate. I always said weird shit like that for no reason. Now, I know these don't match up that well, but it doesn't really matter for now. It's just basically getting a rough idea. It'll do. Alright, so now I've added some woodwinds. And basically I just copied the trumpet section, or the horns, the brass, and I removed like a whole bunch of just different notes because it just sounded similar and blah blah blah. It's just doubled up. Although I did move some low ones I moved down, some high ones I moved up, and just sort of kept it along the same sort of middle section bit. Although this little bit at the end bit that used to go, you know, the da-da-da, I put that on the woodwinds instead of, so I took it off the brass, so it doesn't do it on the brass anymore. I just kept it on the woodwinds because I think it's a nice little sort of, it's more subtle sort of mystery in the background, sort of magical, sort of just sounds better in my opinion. Anyway, I'll play it solo so you know what that sounds like. So the end bit, I'll fix the end bit. Right, and this is all together. So it's getting there. Basically, I cleaned up all the stuff a little bit. So what I did with the brass is I took what I wrote, but I separated it. So down here, so I moved channel 1. You see just the trumpets. So I've got dual trumpets going on. So you know, one person, or you know, one divisi will play this passage here, and another will play this bit. And then on channel 2, I got the horns, and the horns basically mimic a little bit of the trumpets, but they also have this M bit, which the trumpets don't have. And then so on with the other ones, like with the trombones I've got down here. And then the tuba will mimic a little bit of that too. Yeah, this bit here, but they've also got their, so they mimic a little bit of it, but they also have like a little bit of their own uniqueness to it, to their section. And it just, that when you double it up, it fattens it a lot more, because if you just do like one section, like trombones playing their own thing, it just doesn't seem to glue together as well as if you you know, double up so that, you know, half the trombone section is playing one line, another half's playing the other line, and so forth with everything else. It just seems to sound fatter and better, and you know, I imagine that's probably what they'll do in a real orchestra anyway. So here it is here. So in one contact instance of this channel, I've got the trumpets in MIDI 1. See there the horns, the horns in MIDI 2, trombones in MIDI 3, and tubas in MIDI 4. And what I've done is I've given them, instead of the default stereo mic that they all come with, I've separated them out to their different mic positions that I felt sounded pretty good, and I've also loaded in different articulations that they'll use. So this will use sustain for a while, and at the end it's got staccato obviously, but I think with the horn section I also put some staccato at the start, which I'll show you now. The edited, you can see in here I've done all the MIDI data as well, so you got the mod wheel to control the expressions. So I'll solo the trumpets, edited. Maybe I'll play it from the start, it might help. Right. And now I'll solo just the horns. And now I'm going to do the trombones. So yeah, they've got the staccato at the end, and then the tubas. And now I'll just play all of them. So this is all of them together. Right, and so that's what I did with that first bit I did, and took that, and obviously that's how I separated all the brass section to sound better, and so they all have their own playing style rather than all together in one section. Which brings me to the strings, and what I did with the strings, I basically just kept it on string ensemble, because they're not that interesting strings. They're just basically mimicking what the brass is doing. So I just left them as the whole string section, and basically it's all it is legato, sustain, and then staccato at the end. And this is basically what it sounds like. And then I've got the added woodwinds, and I did the same thing I did with the strings. I didn't separate them into their own sections like I did with the brass, just because the brass is more. The brass is the one that really makes it epic, and the flutes or the woodwinds aren't really doing that much craziness, so I just sort of kept them the same, just the ensemble, legato or sustain, and then just staccatos at the end. So this is what it sounds like. And at the moment I kept the percussion exactly the same. All I did was fix up this end crap bit that that it was doing before. And anyway, so I'll play the whole. So after that, this is what it all sounds like. So it sounds a lot better than before, that's for sure. And alright, so now what I'll do is I'm pretty happy with those sections. One thing I should say is that with the brass, I haven't actually added any reverb yet. So it's all just the close and far mics, because I'll probably add my own reverb later, or towards the end. But right now it's just, I don't worry about that stuff that much. Midway through, I sort of just get the bulk of it and just keep adding to it, and separating bits and making individual bits sound better. So what I'll do is I'll do that with the percussion, and I'll come back. Alright, so I added a new track here just with just cymbals in it. So I'll solo that and show you what's going on. Just, some thingos. But what I want to do is, I want to add in here, I've got, I'm starting to name it now, by the way. So this is the timpani. And I don't really know what I want to do with it yet, but I know I want to put one just as the boom comes in, that first bass, the doom before the trumpet goes and it's tuned, so of course I have to find out what bloody note this is on. This one, whatever that is. So I want that to hit there, so basically find out what bloody note that is. So it's doom, and it's this one. What I want to do is I want to put the roll in, so I'll check out which is the roll, so that's for hits, and then if I do the little key switch, alright, so it is C1 it says, sometimes it doesn't always work, so C1, and then C, yeah, see it's not switching, so it's lying to me, die, so C2, alright. So put on C2 first for a hit. So that'll do a hit there. And then I want to switch it straight away to a tremolo. And then I want to I just thought I was going to say I'm putting the same one, but this has got two sides, two hands, so I'll use the other hand for the tremolo, which should be up here. Yeah, so I'll do that one. As long as that starts after the other one. After the tremolo's been triggered, yep. And that should go all the way along to that one. Let's just see if that works. seems to work. And I think with tremolo with this is use the mod wheel. It doesn't matter for the hits that use velocity, but with the tremolo it's always the mod wheel. So I'm actually just going to solo it to see if that actually works. Ooh, gotta switch back. Just before that last hit, this sounded like fucking scheiße. Alright, here we go. Maybe I'll do low hit. So that with the cymbals. Actually, what I want to do is I want to make it rise a little bit before the like before that first bass hit, so I want to go like, you know, something like that. See what that sounds like, eh? So it's like 2 rises, so that's the first one into that first brass, and then so let's see what that sounds like. So I reckon I'll keep it like that. Alright, so now I've added snares. I used the snares from Action Strikes, just because it's the snare ensemble. So I just figured, you know, it probably sounds a lot heavier. This is what it sounds like. And this is with the other percussion that I did. Alright, so next I'll put the piattis back in because they sounded pretty sick. Just put the piatti back in. Just before it was in the percussion thing I made before. So now I will add some more percussion. Actually, do I even need to add more percussion? So I added the chimes, but I completely forgot about the bass drum. So I added the bass drum in as well. I just used Action Strikes, the ensemble again, just because it just, I don't know. Action Strikes just sounds good. Alright, so this is what all the percussion sounds like so far. Actually, I'll delete this one. I don't need that old percussion anymore. Alright, here we go. In the end, Baywatch. So you notice that it's fucking loud here. Just lower them all to like -2. Right, so that is a bit lower now, so hopefully that thing at the end is not as crazy. I could even go lower, even just to -4, but I'll just leave it like that for now, just because I like being deaf. Where do I go from here? There's probably a lot of things I could do. There's probably a lot of things everyone's wanting me to do. I'll try and read your mind. I like licorice too. How did you know? Can you tell it's late? Alright. So, something about the timpani is bothering me. So I'm going to see what I can do about that. This one here. Might help a bit too. Alright. Now I'll just chuck a bit more timpani in the mix in the middle epic bit. Do the roll again to end it. So just copy the roll. So it's copied. Make sure that the key switch triggers the roll. So it's got to trigger there, and we are roughly there. Yeah, that's good. Oh, bloody wrong lane. Wrong key. There we go. Might actually move that one. So we'll do this, that one there. These are a bit loud, so let's see if that helps. Yeah, that's better. I'll get rid of this click track because I don't need that anymore. Well, there's not that much more I can think to add to it, really. I mean, so I added a tom. And now with the rest, with all the percussion. Now, I haven't added the reverb to the brass, but I don't think I really want to. I mean, I feel like sometimes I add reverb to everything and it just makes it too muddy, and sometimes it's better to just leave it off sometimes. But I'll give it a shot. Okay, so I added reverb to my brass. I'm just using Reverberate, and I've got the Hollywood impulse responses. Anyway, this is what it sounds like with the reverb on, just the brass by itself. Now what I usually do is, like I said before, I bring down all the volumes a bit more. So I'll bring it all down to maybe -4. And then what I usually do is, in the master track, I'll compress it all just a bit. So listen to it, my highest, it's probably there, isn't it? So, where it really starts screaming at me. Jesus. Don't know what the fuck I did then. Alright, I don't know what happened with my computer then, but it seemed to not be able to handle the recording at the same time as using those things. Who knows? But what I did was, in the effects channel, I basically added a dynamic equalizer, but I got rid of all the band switches so that it's just basically one which acts like a compressor. And basically you can see that, you know, I haven't done that much. I've put it down a tad, and it's not compressing like a huge amount. It's just doing enough to sort of balance it out a little bit, and then I adjust the output gain. And once I've done that, I add a horizon, just the one that comes with Reaper, just the limiter, and I just to about minus 1.4 decibels, and I'll play it and let's see if it actually works. If not, I'll render it out and put it back. Alright, ready? There you have it. That'll do for now, I guess. Ralphie. Where are you, Ralphie? Come here. Come here, buddy. Will that do for now, Ralphie, buddy? Will it do for now, buddy? Rush it will, Ralphie says rush it will. Alright.